Hello everyone, so this video we are unboxing a video light, a LED chip on-board video light. And the light source you're seeing right now is my Aputure, I think it's C300D version 2. This is the video light that I bought because I started doing quite a lot of unboxing and how-to videos, and I thought a video light might help me. And so after I bought my original Aputure video light, GVM actually reached out to me and they were like, hey, would you like to review this light for us? It's a 300 watt chip on board light, and I think it's the model number SD300D. So exact same power output as my Aputure, which is around 300 watts maximum power output. And right now, the diffused light that you see is actually a I think what they call like a lantern softbox from Aputure that I also bought with the light. I think the whole kit that I bought with the light with the softbox comes down to around, I think, $1,100. That's probably last year. Now the price actually for the Aputure has went down about $100. Right now I went onto the website and I checked again. The price is about $960, give or take, $20–30 difference for the retail websites. But that's how much I paid for my light source that you're currently seeing. Now this light, the SD300D, it's retailing for about $600 right now on B&H or at Rama, and exact same power output. So I'm gonna just go ahead and unbox and take a look at the light because again I really haven't opened up the box yet. I want to give you guys like some sort of background information on what light I currently have, so at least I have something to compare. After we finish unboxing, I'm gonna put this light up and give you guys a look at the current setup or like a similar setup, and you guys can be your own judge and see if the light source is better or it's worse compared to the Aputure C300D Mark II that I have currently. So again, I don't know what to expect about this light. I did not do any prior video research on YouTube of what other people did. I simply just want to give it a try and give you guys my honest opinion on what the SD300D entitles you to, okay, for around $600. Interestingly, it comes with its own nice carrying case, which is right here. In comparison, I'm going to show you guys the carrying case for the Aputure as well. This is the light box that came with the Aputure, I guess it's called Aputure 300D II. There is, of course, a size difference and again a premium difference on what you're entitled, even starting out with the carrying case. Okay, so in the carrying case of Aputure, you got a nicely laid out divider with plenty of padding and the original hyper reflective thing that they call, which is just like a reflector over there. So that's the Aputure. Let's take a look at the GVM. Again, the box is actually more compact, which I think it should work to your advantage, because nobody likes to carry super oversized, overweight lights around, especially if you're on location doing shoots. But again, for me in the studio, it doesn't really make much difference. So this is what's inside. Have you guys take a look. You have a this looks like the holding pad for the power adapter. You got your reflector right here and a plastic cover right there. So the reflector, comparing this to the one that came with Aputure, we're gonna do again a direct comparison since I have the exact, or I would think this is probably the competitor that the GVM is aiming this light for against. Okay, So the diameter for both of those are exactly the same. Now in terms of the reflective surface, I would say the Aputure surface is actually looks to be slightly better made compared to the GVM surface. This one is more diffused and it's more smooth and uniform, and this one just looks like there is a lot of variations in the little pillow looking texture right there. So yeah, in terms of build quality of the reflector, I would say I would give kudos to the Aputure because it's much better built. This one, it looks very similar, however the build quality is slightly lower. Okay, keep that in mind. Alright, let's unbox the rest of the stuff. Reflector aside, quite exciting. You have your power cord, which is a standard 3-pin, which is a standard 3-pin which is the standard 3-pin power cord that's being used for many other lights. So again, keep in mind this is actually a standard power cord. The Aputure, it's got a specialized power cord that I think is made for video productions, so also you have to keep that in mind. And this is the adapter right here. It feels like a big chunky block, but again, comparing this adapter to the actual Aputure, there is a significant size and weight difference. You have your instructional manuals and thank you card. And the light was made in, the light was actually made last year, 2021, of November. Okay, so right now it's 2022 of April, so this light is almost half a year old without ever being used. You have a soft pad for the top of the light right here. So the light directly sits right here. Okay, sits in this main compartment, and on the side is your reflector and power cord. So 3 compartments for the SD300D, and this is your actual light. Okay. Now they didn't come with a actual the COB protector. Keep that in mind. I guess you could use this as a protector or a diffuser all at the same time maybe. So yep, so we're gonna leave the case aside, take a look at the actual light. Now again, keep in mind I haven't researched or seen any other video reviews about this light, so bear with me if there's any features that I'm not familiar with. Now, the first thing that's interesting that I noticed is, I'm going to give you guys a close-up. There are actually, so within this chip on board COB chip, it's a giant chip with many small LED lights built in here, and the heat gets dissipated through all the aluminum parts and through the heat sink integrated right here. And is there a fan? And there's a fan somewhere situated, like sandwiched in between 2 heat sinks. Okay, so that's how the heat gets dissipated through all those metal pieces throughout this light. And again, the construction of the light, as you can see, it's actually mainly aluminum. So which also helps with dissipating heat. So aluminum, 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 and this part, it looks like aluminum, but the back handle area is actually plastic. This is metal, of course, but this is plastic. The cover is plastic. For the Aputure, everything's metal. This one, I feel like it's probably contained about 30 to 40% plastic components compared to 100% metal construction of the Aputure that I'm using. And you have this kind of a stamped, clipped setup right here. When you mount this on the light stand, it will sit very firmly at an angle because there is got tooth on the two sides when you actually try to tighten this this holder. Okay, looking at the back panel, looks pretty simple actually. You got a mode button, very clicky. You got a brightness and CCT adjustment, which I think is the color temperature. So the cool thing about this light, I didn't mention, is its ability to change color temperatures from 2700K all the way up to I think 7200K, something like that. So you can go from really warm light to a really cool light, depending on your setup. So it can do that. The Aputure that I'm using is a constant daylight balanced chip on board light, which is fixed at 5600K Kelvin. Okay, and this is the other part of the power adapter that you connect to. It's like a blue color for easy identification. And I guess this is the LCD manual. We're gonna connect really quick and then take a look at the actual light. But again, my very first concern is there are dust and hairs that's being sealed in the whatever material they use to seal the light, the chip, which is very evident right here. So I'm not sure if those are even removable. It looks like it's being embedded inside. Let me try to clean it using a cloth. So I was able to clean some of the dust off, but apparently still some got stuck right inside. That's pretty interesting, the way those hairs get stuck inside the chip. Okay, that's my first observation about the build quality of the light. Now let's connect the light and we're gonna take a quick look. The cord is not very long. This cord, this part, which I think is supposed to be secured by this on the stand of some sort, is probably around like 3 foot max. So 1 meter of the length for the final connector to the light, which you just pretty much clicking like any other video lights, I would assume. And by the way, it's plastic. Okay. The connector on the Aputure is all metal. Another difference from observation. All right, so that's pretty much at the lowest setting of the light that you can do. So if you want a dramatic light effect, or if you want a fill light somewhere on the side, this is definitely an option. Okay. So for example, I could turn on my main light, all right? So now you can change this fill light or, highlight, whatever you can change, and all the way to the side and just kind of balance both lights, move it kind of off the frame. So imagine there's, it's pretty far away and you can control the brightness. You can get some pretty good dramatic lighting effects in your actual video shots. And I can turn it off, and this is what it looks like with just my original Aputure L300D Mark II. So definitely having more than one light, especially now I have the GVM SD300D. I could definitely use it to either fill my backdrop as a fill light or as a key light for the side. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna mount this light to my right side, which is probably on the left side of the video, and you guys can see the effect it produces when mixed with a diffused light. So I'm gonna use this tiny diffuser with a big diffuser box, and let's see what it looks like. Turn off this main light and give you guys another look. This is the fill pretty much. So you can have it at a more dramatic angle maybe. So like somewhere there. And you can turn on the light and try to just balance your overall look as you wish with this Bluetooth function. And you can go way overexposed. This is 100% by the way. So now you can see most of my face is actually overpowered by this light. And you definitely have a lot of room to play around. This is 1%, 7%, 26%, 40%. Again, keep in mind, there's a diffuser box in front. If I take that diffuser box off and I use that pretty harsh reflector, which I don't know where I put. Anyway, if you use the reflector, it's gonna be more bright and the light is gonna be more concentrated. Not my purpose, but there's definitely an option for you guys to use. I'm mainly gonna be using this light as a diffused light, either as a single light source setup or as a fill light for my Aputure. And I think I'm pretty much figured out the kind of the use for this new GVM, GVM SD300D. One thing I haven't mentioned is, again, the highlight of this light compared to the Aputure is the ability to change the color balance. Okay, I'm going to show you guys right now. Right now I have the light at 520 or 5200 Kelvin. I can get the light really yellowish to 2700 Kelvin, and as you can see, my face right now is pretty yellowish and the background is probably very yellow. The background is supposed to be a neutral gray color. Right now it's yellow. And so this is the lowest Kelvin. And as you go up, you can see the color temperature change. I think my camera is actually on automatic white balance, so that's why it was not, there's no dramatic change there. But, oh, I know why, because my ISO is on auto. Anyway, I'm going to show you guys what it looks like with a 7500 Kelvin color temperature. So it looks like this. It's pretty cold. Yeah, that's definitely the huge advantage of this light, which is the ability to change the Kelvin to suit the actual ambient light situation. As long as you don't have any other like fancy light source with full RGB color LED, this light should be more practical with on-location shooting when mixed with ambient light, just simply because of the fact that it can actually change its color pretty easily, right on set, which is pretty nice. Definitely kudos, or definitely a huge plus of the GVM compared to the Aputure, which have a fixed Kelvin. Now that actually pretty much covers up all the functions of this light. So basically it's got a master function and a slave function, supports up to 12 channels of different, I don't know how many lights it supports, but it supports 12 different channels. If you are in the app control mode, you also have the ability to select different channels to control different lights in the settings. But again, for my simple use, I really don't touch on those advanced settings or group of the channels in the wireless setting. But I do show you guys there is an option that you can do that. There's another mode on the back. It pretty much just says rotate. The fan just kicked in. I'm gonna let you guys hear the fan sound. Wow, guess what guys, so that's actually the fan of the brick, the actual AC brick. It just kicked in. So it's got a cooling component in the brick, which is pretty neat. For the Aputure, the cooling unit is actually, it's a passive cooling unit on the master unit, I believe, because it's always quiet. The only fan that I can hear in the Aputure is actually the built-in fan for the heatsink. Other than that, the Aputure is much more quiet than this one. Okay, now I'm going to turn on the Aputure, and I'm going to have the Aputure running at 100%. And again, you probably wouldn't be able to see a difference because my I actually accidentally set my video at auto ISO, so it was compensating for the light this entire time. So let me put the light on a on a stand, and I'll come back and give you guys some quick demonstration on the light output of this particular light. Okay. Now, to make everything fair and square, I reset up my light at a fixed position. So right now what you're seeing is the GVM SD300D at 50% power output at what is claimed 5600K. So same Kelvin setting at 50% power output. And throughout this video, I am just going to adjust the power output between 50 to 100, and then I'm going to switch to the Aputure L300D Mark II and show you guys the footage at 50% of the power output compared to 100%. And I'm actually just going to make a split screen and put myself onto both sides, so you can see at the exact same setting, same shutter speed, same aperture, the different light output of those lights as they claim. Both of those lights, again, 300 watts output. So let's put them to test. And this is what it looks like at 100% setting. Okay, so this is as bright as this light can be set at. But keep in mind, I'm using a very low ISO, ISO 100. Usually on my Sony a7 IV, I can actually bump up the ISO quite a lot to compensate for the low light. But in this instance, this is my baseline. ISO 100%, 60s of a second, and f3.5. So this is 100%. This is what 100% setting with a lantern diffuser box is gonna get you. Now with a lantern diffuser box, most of the light is actually diffused surrounding the globe, so you're not gonna get the full power output of the concentrated light. So everything, keep in mind, you have more potential if you use a more focused softbox, parabolic umbrella, or the actual diffuser right here. So this is at 100% power output. Comparing left and right, let me know if you guys think, the performance of both lights as claimed, both lights are 300 watts or comparable at the same power setting or not. Yeah, just let me know in the comment section. And probably at the end, I'll also make my own conclusion after I finish comparing both lights. What you are hearing right now is the fan noise. This is the fan built inside the power brick. It's actually not the fan from the actual light itself, which in my test, almost half an hour has passed, has never came on. The only fan that came on is the fan in the power brick. Especially when you set it to 100% power, I noticed that the fan actually comes on after just a few minutes. Quite interestingly, the light just turned off itself. I don't know what's going on. Maybe it's overheated. That is weird. Wow, so the light just turned itself off. So apparently, I set the light at 100%. After only about probably less than 3-4 minutes, the light shut itself off and says temperature is high. I'm suspecting this unit, the building fan is actually bad. That fan is supposed to kick in, but it never kicked in, and it just shut itself, which was quite unexpected. So it's giving itself a timer, and you guys can hear the sound of the brick. This is quite unexpected. I'll have to do some further digging, but at this point, reliability is a big question, okay? Anyway, I've already did my 50% and 100% output comparison. Now I'm gonna actually put back my trusty Aputure L300D, and let's see if it's gonna make a difference in terms of only from the perspective of power output. And you can see the two silent fans on the Aputure. Alright guys, so just want to give you guys a physical comparison of both lights. And in terms of weight, the Aputure is probably twice the weight of the GVM. And again, my concern with the chip on board is that there are actually some stuck inside dust, as you can see from from inside. It's kind of like dark. It's embedded in there, which is pretty weird. The Aputure, it's a beautiful single chip. There's no visible, separation between the different colors of the light, and it's pretty uniform. And again, it just feels really, really solidly built on the Aputure. The back panel, Aputure, all the controls are actually right here. So I can easily control the light on the back. It just connects through this data cable over here and supplies the power and the data at the same time. But this one, the fan just turned off, and that's probably already 10 minutes after it's shut itself down. I don't know why, I don't know what's going on, but reliability is a big concern for me. So as I said, I am gonna go back and turn on the and set up the Aputure at the same power output and brightness setting, so you guys can actually do the final comparison before I come back and make my final conclusion. Okay guys, so I am back to make my conclusion. I had high expectations and high hopes for the GVM SD300, and unfortunately it didn't even survive the initial testing. For more than probably 10 minutes of the light being continuously running at 100%, it just shut itself down automatically in the middle of the shoot. Like, I was totally surprised. So while I appreciate GVM had the courage and the confidence of sending me the SD300D, unfortunately I'm gonna have to say I'm not so fond of the reliability of the actual unit. I mean, for almost actually for more than $600 with tax, this light is actually probably comes closer to the kind of prosumer high-end video light category. For this amount of price that someone is gonna pay, I would expect the light to be at least reliable. So obviously it is not, at least for the unit that I received. Evidently it's brand new, because I was looking at the warranty seal. The warranty seal is still intact, so nobody has opened the box yet. And my suspicion is the internal fan actually broke. So when the temperature gets really high, and to a point that the heatsink cannot process itself, it just shuts itself down without the fan ever turning on. So I would say it's a defective fan that's probably caused this problem. But again, I was not expecting it during my initial unboxing review. So I'm gonna try to contact them and see if they have anything to say about this, or it's just the design of the light. When it reaches the high temperature, it automatically shuts down. But it really shouldn't happen. I mean, I had a much cheaper light, I believe it's also GVM that I had before, also 300 watts. That light is actually more reliable than this one. Granted, it's a little bit more noisy to start with, but that GVM light I remember I had a few years back was a better light compared to this in terms of reliability. Okay, this one, it's got a better design compared to the last light that I had of the GVM. But I think the reason I went with the Aputure is because, one, reliability. Since I have owned it last year, it had never failed. I used it quite often. And in terms of the light output, the reliability of the light source, again, the color rendition is reliable, and it just never gave me any issues. Pretty much I press the power button, I start recording videos. Same thing cannot be said for the SD300D. Unless GVM fixes it or addresses the issue, at this point I probably wouldn't recommend this light. Despite the fact that it is a little bit cheaper than the Aputure, I wouldn't recommend it. So this actually concludes our unboxing. I don't know if I want to continue to test it further since it already shut down on me during the initial test. At this point, again, I probably wouldn't recommend it unless they address the auto shutdown issue due to the high temperature and the fan not running inside. Hopefully this is just a separated incidents, I hope. And other people, if you have this particular light, you want to chime in, talk about the reliability of this particular light, feel free to say it in the comment section down below. I'd be happy to hear it. But personally, I'll probably be returning this light, despite the fact that they were they had the courage of sending me this light to test. Okay, so thanks again, guys, for watching at this video. Hope you found it helpful, and if you did, please do hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. I should have more, photography or videography related contents coming out for you guys. Thanks again, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.